Transmitter device activated. Coordinates set for Earth 2.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 300th episode of the Earth 2 podcast, your weekly exploration of the DC Comics multiverse and the legacy of their Golden Age characters through the Silver and Bronze Ages of comics. I'm Peter Watson.
I'm Steve Higgins.
I'm Brandon Peters.
I'm Kaylee Blair.
This is Chuck Lordens.
I'm Paul Ken.
I'm Caitlin Higgins.
I'm Logan McFarlane.
And I'm David Steele. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Yes, our 300th episode. It's a whole 200 episodes since Planet of the Capes and a whole 100 episodes since that one with Chuck, Kelly and Alison doing Green Arrow and Black Canary and Zatanna. How the time flies. What have we got for you this time? This anniversary? Well, it's the very exciting DC Superstars issue 10. Published on the 23rd of September 1976, partway through the broadcast of Mask of Mandragora, the opening story of Tom Baker's third Doctor Who series, if anyone's interested. And because it's a 100th episode, as it were, as you might be able to tell, we've got a couple of people back to voice some characters they've voiced already, and Steve is joining us for the full record for the first time in a while. Welcome back, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always happy to be involved.
Shall we just crack on?
Let's do it.
Peter's going to tell us about the cover.
It's a lovely black cover. DC Superstars Giant presents Strange Sports Stories. 50 cents, number 10, December. Production code is 31660, approved by the Comics Code Authority. 9 sensational superheroes versus 9 sinister supervillains in an all-new baseball sports-tacular. Yes, folks, this is going to be 2 British guys and an American talking about baseball. Who is the one with the knowledge here?
Yes.
It's a very exciting cover. As I said, it's a black background, and the action takes place in front of a giant baseball ball, for lack of a better word.
Would you just call it a baseball, Steve?
Yes.
I thought it was funnier to call it baseball ball.
I know, but I'm checking. We have to check in with Steve for accuracy.
Yes.
And on it are some of the assembled characters that appear in this story. At the very back, there's Black Canary. There's Wonder Woman standing on it. She's wielding a baseball bat. There's Robin, who's punching out Dr. Polaris, who's wearing his rubbish costume and not his good costume. There's Weather Wizard running in from the back. Sportsmaster is there in full baseball regalia with his catcher's mitts and his baseball in hand. He's looking very excited.
Do you think? It looks like he's about to throw his baseball at Wonder Woman.
He may well be.
Interesting. I bet he is the rascal.
I would find that exciting.
Would you? Oh, goodness me.
Anyway, at the front, we have Superman, and he's punching Lex Luthor, and he's saying,
Strike one!
And Batman is punching out the Joker, who's flying back, and he's shouting,
Strike two!
Awesome.
And there's no one there to shout strike three, which is a bit peculiar, because the very little I know about baseball is there should be a third strike for someone to be out. Am I right, Steve? Can we confirm?
Yes. 3 strikes and you're out.
Excellent. I win at the baseball knowledge. Superb.
Most of what I know about baseball comes from reading Peanuts cartoons and I think 2 episodes of Quantum Leap. And the very first episode of Quantum Leap, the last sort of little segment of it, Sam leaps into a baseball player and does something which changes the nature of the game so that everyone involved in the game has a much better life. And I've watched the pilot episode many times, and I'm at that scene, and I have no idea what it is that Sam does that actually changes things, or why everyone seems so happy at what he does, because they don't really tell you. And I've often wondered, it'd be nice to get someone who understands baseball to watch it so they could explain it to me.
There we are.
I will have to watch it sometime soon and report back to you.
Yeah, or if any other listeners have access to the opening episode of Quantum Leap and want to do that for me, that'd be lovely. Right, gosh, let's just talk a little bit about the cover. I did not recognise Dr. Polaris at all doing the prep for this until he was actually identified by name, because I always think of him, and I'm going to mime for the benefit of our YouTube viewers, that big weird helmet that makes him look like a cut-price Galactus.
The sort of armoured look,
yeah.
That's an awesome costume, but this sort of like semi-costume shop pirate gear that he seems to be wearing has always been much inferior.
Yes.
And it's not like this is his costume at the time. It had been established that he did have that more armoured look in previous Green Lantern appearances. So he's obviously gone back to this. Perhaps that costume was at the dry cleaners and he had to wear this one.
Jumping into the comic, we have a large opening splash image which shows a bunch of heroes on the left facing up to a bunch of villains on the right, Uncle Sam of the Freedom Fighters standing between them, and, as you'd expect, as the contents page for the issue, there's quite a lot of captioning.
DC Superstars presents Strange Sports Stories. Contents. The Great Superstar Game. 9 superheroes and 10 supervillains, plus 1 whose future hangs on the outcome of the game. Superstar Play-by-Play, a complete rundown on the game. An Earth coach trains the super athletes from outer space. And Green Lantern boxies an unbeaten alien in the fight for the championship of the universe.
Gosh, how exciting. Listeners, if you have a copy of DC Special Blue Ribbon Digest number 13 handy, the story's reprinted now if you want to read along, but obviously, presumably by now you'll have worked out we're doing this and you've got your copy of DC Superstars number 10 handy. So, a quick list of all the heroes on this contents page. Immediately we see Batman, who appears to have a baseball glove on and holding a ball. We see Superman, Wonder Woman, Robin. Wonder Woman also with a mitt of some description, Robin with a baseball in hand. Plastic Man with a baseball in his right hand. Kid Flash can be seen. Green Arrow and Black Canary, and interestingly, the Huntress is on the same side as the heroes. Ooh. On the other side, opposite, with Uncle Sam in the middle, as I say, we see the Sportsmaster. There's a guy with a white peaked cap and a blue shirt and blue trousers, who we will later find out is the Tattooed Man. We can see Master, Felix Faust, the Weather Wizard, Dr. Polaris in his sub-Atlas Comics uniform that Peter described, Kronos, Lex Luthor, and the Joker. So, pick your winner as we turn the page, and we're immediately hit with some more captioning.
DC Superstars, the strangest sports story ever told. You don't have to be a baseball fan to know that the All-Star Game pits the best players from the National and American Leagues against each other in a once-a-year diamond duel. Really? And everybody knows that the World Series presents the top team of each league in a best-of-7 series.
I didn't know that.
But now, the cream of the crime fighters challenges the elite of the lawbreakers to a baseball game unparalleled in sports history.
The Great Superstar Game! Awesome. Then we get the credits for the issue.
Bob Babe Rozakis, writer. Dick Duke Dillon, penciler. Frank Catfish McLaughlin, inker, and Julius Casey Schwartz, editor.
Right, now, Babe, I can work out who that's a reference to, but Steve, do you know who Catfish is referencing to?
There was a time I would have. Yes, it sounds very familiar, but yeah, an old-timey baseball player.
Excellent.
Okay, that narrows it down. Again, any listeners can write in and we'll do a special episode where we give everyone's feedback on this story. So this opening splash part of the story, we see Batman crouched wearing a sort of weird catcher's mask which completely covers his bat mask, which is fun. He's got a mitt. He is going to try and catch the ball that Superman is pitching towards the Joker. And then we also see Uncle Sam crouching behind Batman. He's also got a chest guard on and a mask as well. And on either side of the page, there are 2 columns which list all the heroes and villains involved. We've just listed them on the Splash Contents panel, but we're going to list them all again in the time-honoured style. So, superheroes lineup.
Superman, pitcher.
Batman, catcher.
Wonder Woman, second base.
Robin, left field.
Kid Flash, shortstop.
Plastic Man, first base.
Green Arrow, third base.
Black Canary, right field.
The Huntress, center field.
Uncle Sam, plate umpire.
And then we get the supervillains lineup, which kicks off with
Lex Luthor, center field.
The Joker, catcher.
Kronos, right field.
Weather Wizard, left field.
Dr. Polaris, third base.
Master, second base.
Felix Faust, first base.
Tattooed Man, shortstop.
Sportsmaster, pitcher.
Amazo, field umpire.
Gosh. So, can we all remember the last time any of those characters appeared on the show, and do we all know who's appearing here for the first time?
We've not had Amazo before, we've not had Tattooed Man before, we have had Felix Faust, Master we have had in that JLA issue.
Yep, the Hawkman one.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Polaris is making his debut. Weather Wizard, did he appear with the Rogues in that Mirror Master story?
I've got a feeling we've seen him before. I'm not sure.
I think Kronos is making his debut. The Joker, of course, we've had before. Lex Luthor we've had before.
Yes.
Uncle Sam, Steve, have we had Uncle Sam before?
Yes. I mean, yes. Tarnation.
The Huntress, of course, we had just a couple of weeks ago in that Batman family. Black Canary, Green Arrow. All the heroes we've had.
Yes.
I believe, yes.
So basically, it's a few villains debuting. So that's interesting. And bear all that in mind because there's a point I'm going to reiterate from the wrap-up episode that we did for the big JLA JSA epic, which we've recently covered. And we start the story properly. There's an establishing shot of it looks a bit Brady Bunch to my eyes, to be honest, a very nice establishing shot of a suburban house. And from inside we hear two arguing voices.
I don't give two hoots what you're saying. You're wrong.
Listen, you numbskull. I know what I'm talking about. You're the one who's out of her tree.
One of the sounds of the suburbs, or the city for that matter, a husband and wife shouting match. But this is not your run-of-the-mill married couple. This is the couple known as Mr. and Mrs. Menace, the Sportsmaster and the Huntress.
Yes, and we see the Huntress and the Sportsmaster. She's got a chair, which she looks as if she's using to fight him back, and he's trying to swat her with a tennis racket. We should point out he's wearing a white t-shirt and white shorts, so maybe he's in a tennis kind of mood. Huntress is saying,
I'm warning you, Tiger. Stay put till we get this settled.
Cool it. I just want to knock some sense into your head.
It's you who need some sense, sport. What will it take to convince you? Super villains never win. No matter how you stack the cards, the good guys always beat 'em.
So, you're gonna give up your life of crime and become a superheroine? Over my dead body?
If that's the way it's gotta be.
And she throws the chair at him, but he ducks out the way, saying, Honey, don't get so violent. Give me a sporting chance to prove I'm right. Let me show you. We bad guys can win. They both calm down a little bit, stand a little bit closer as Huntress says,
Just what do you have in mind?
A friendly baseball game. You pick a team of heroes, I'll make mine up of villains. If your team wins, you switch to being a crime fighter. If mine comes out ahead, and I'm sure it will, you stick with me.
The fact that you're reading this story makes it obvious that the Huntress has agreed to go along with her husband's proposal. So, let's jump a week ahead to Gotham City, where the first player draft is about to take place at the Wayne Foundation-sponsored Pro Bowlers Tournament.
Oh yes, this is clearly a big deal. There's a big crowd watching. We can see TV cameras overhead, and a bunch of men all lined up to throw their bowling balls down the lanes of the alley. Now, between you and me, listeners, I hate bowling. It is not something I would ever choose to do for fun. I've had to do it 2 or 3 times on HMV nights out in the past, and I hated every minute of it. Steve, Pete, where do you stand on bowling?
It's fine. Don't mind it. It's good fun.
I enjoy it a great deal. When I was in junior high and high school, I was in a bowling league even. So,
ooh, that's cool.
I prefer lawn grass bowls myself, but that's fine.
I heard that rumour.
I started it.
No, I have to admit, it's just because I've never really figured it out. I can go from hitting nothing 3 in a row to, getting a strike and I have never really figured out the method, and I find it a chore. Anyway, back to the plot. So, amongst the crowd who are watching this going on, we see a blonde chap with a very neat goatee beard and moustache, a beautiful dark-haired lady, another very smart-looking dark-haired gentleman. Yes, it's Oliver Queen, Dinah Lance, and Bruce Wayne. Oliver Queen speaks first.
You've got to figure, Bruce, that $25,000 cash prize you put up is going to be worth triple that in publicity.
Ollie, are you pushing my foundation or your ability as a public relations man?
Canary smiles and says,
Oh, I thought you knew, Bruce. Queen Promotions' biggest client is Queen Promotions.
And a slightly grumpy-looking Oliver Queen waves a hand, saying,
Stuff it, Dinah.
Prominent among the guests are Bruce, Batman Wayne, Oliver, Green Arrow Queen, and Dinah, Black Canary Lance. But there are also a couple of uninvited celebrities about to make their presence felt.
Yes, for we see, lurking out of sight, the familiar purple-suited, white-skinned, green-haired form of the Joker, and standing next to him, skinny guy in a green unitard with a red cape and a pointy chin beard that makes him look as if he's in a modern folk band, and a pointy green hat covered in stars and moon symbols, yes, making his return for the first time since the debut of the Golden Eagle. It's the Mattermaster. The Joker is saying,
Mattermaster, old boy, I have a feeling I'm really going to get a bang out of working with you.
The feeling's mutual, Joker. An old sourpuss like me needs your quick wit to liven up my capers.
Okay, wave your wand and give those bowlers a taste of their own medicine.
And Mattermaster does indeed wave his wand. There's a little burst of golden energy at the tip, and then we see the competitors all being struck by the bowling pins, which are all flying towards them. Joker is delighted, he says,
Let him see how those pins feel when they get hit.
And we see one bowler crying,
Hey!
And one chap pointing out the bleeding obvious when he says,
The pins flying back at us. bowling us over.
And while this is going on, we see Oliver Queen and Bruce Wayne ducking into the gents and Dinah Lance ducking into the ladies. We then see Batman, Green Arrow and Black Canary exiting the toilets and rushing back in towards the fray. Green Arrow says,
"This net arrow should bring down that flock of flying pins."
and indeed we see the net capturing some of the pins, slowing their momentum, as Canary says,
While my sonic power blasts the strays.
yes, and we see Dinah's sonic beam interrupting the progress of some more of the pins. We cut back to the Joker and the Matter Master waving his wand at a huge pile of cash, which is piled up behind a sign that reads, Wayne Foundation Pro Bolos Tournament, $250,000, winner-take-all prize. They left the money just lying about casually. How careless. And as Matter Master starts to gather the money up, the Joker says,
What a pity nobody's around to collect the prize money. Except us.
Take it all, Joker.
says Matter Master, but then Batman swings in, kicking him in the face, saying,
And while you're at it, Crumbs, take this.
Oof.
exclaims the Joker as he's caught in the chops as well. Amazing. We then pull back and we see that these events are being watched on a screen by Sportsmaster and the Huntress. We see Batman swinging by, Matter Master and the Joker dropping. A Sportsmaster says, See, sweetie, I told you that $250,000 would lure some recruits into your trap. That makes 3 for your team and 2 for mine.
I'm one-upping you already.
Sportsmaster flicks a switch on the console in front of him, and then with a series of Batman, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Matter Master and the Joker all vanish.
Ooh.
The picture on the screen in front of Sportsmaster and Huntress then changes to show a familiar figure in blue with a red cape. As Sportsmaster says, Now to see if the information you leaked to Lex Luthor has been put to good use by zooming in on the Metro Hills Tennis Stadium. And then we hear the voice of a commentator pointing out the obvious as he says,
And there you see it, ladies and gentlemen. Superman playing tennis against himself.
Yes, there's lots of wonderful polite tennis clapping as we see the Man of Steel zooming around on a tennis court, back and forth, knocking the tennis ball to himself, spinning over, knocking it back to himself, etc., etc. And the commentator continues.
And now, the men of Steel in a spectacular doubles match.
And Soup's now moving so quickly that it looks as though there are 4 of them on the tennis court. We cut to the audience where we see one dark-haired man with glasses whose attention has been distracted as he points above and says,
Look up in the sky. It's Luthor? But who's the other guy?
I've seen him before. That's Amazo.
And indeed, dropping down from the sky is Lex Luthor in his cool green and purple uniform, which he'll be wearing in another series that we read very soon, and the android form of Amazo flying down with his right hand extended and his Amazo Green Lantern power ring flashing out beams down towards Superman in the court. They're all stabbing down at the individual speeded up Supermen that are cutting about, and the Man of Steel thinks to himself,
Being blasted at all corners of the court.
And then Superman flies up away from the court where he recognises
Luthor and Amazo?
And Luthor says, Exactly, Superman. I learned that this android was once imbued with the powers of all you fellow Justice Leaguers. By magnifying the powers still lingering in his body, I returned him to his former strength, which is more than enough to knock the stuffing out of you. And then Soups flies towards Amazo, who's still blasting him with Green Lantern-style power beams, and Soups says,
Don't know how you got him out of the JLA satellite, but it takes more than imitation Green Lantern blast to stop me.
But then we see Amazo suddenly diminish in size. Superman reacts, saying,
Great Krypton! What?
You forget I can shrink like the atom and pummel you with super speed fists a la the Flash.
Yes, because what Amazo has done is he's shrunk down to get out of Superman's way as he was flying towards him, but now we see that he's grown back up to his full giant size and is striking Superman repeatedly. Astonishing. We see Superman and Amazo ducking it out as Lex moves forward, saying, And while my powerful protege keeps you occupied, I'll move in for the kill. We then cut back to the Huntress and Sportsmaster who are watching what's going on. In fact, we see Lex shooting Superman in the back with the ray gun he was carrying, as Sportsmaster says, Take him away, my love.
Taken, dearest.
And again, she flicks a switch. And we cut back to the tennis courts as Amazo, Luthor and Superman vanish, and some onlookers can only gasp, saying,
Luthor disintegrated them.
And himself, too!
Amazing. Over the page, a disembodied Sportsmaster head says to his wife, That makes us even 4 apiece. Now, tune in that United Nations Soccer Championship. Despite Wonder Woman's presence, that solid platinum trophy is a tempting target. And indeed, we see Wonder Woman, whose lasso is glowing red, which is something I've never seen before, standing close by the edge of a football pitch, and there's an enormous, it looks like a sort of cheap statue that you would see in the window of a tobacconist's over here that you could buy for your annual company prize giving. Wonder Woman standing beside it, as we then cut to a scoreboard, which as well as showing the score, shows what time it is and the temperature reading of 67 degrees as the Sportsmaster continues. Ah, I was right. Check out that time and temperature part of the scoreboard. And in the next panel, we see what looks like a very small blizzard coming through the scoreboard somehow and floating forwards as a voice says,
"Winters are coming early this year, thanks to me."
And yours truly is as timely as ever.
And Wonder Woman whirls around as a man in green, another chap in green with a yellow cape and horrible stripy black and white leggings leap over the scoreboard, and she exclaims, for our identification, "Great Hera, the Weather Wizard, and Kronos! My magic lasso will wrap up their ill-fated caper," and she reaches for a lasso, which then suddenly uncoils into a very familiar form, and we realise why it was glowing red, because revealed is Plastic Man. She's not got hold of her lasso, she's got hold of the pliable paladin himself, who yells because she's got him by the throat, and he says,
"Whoa, WW! Loosen your grip before you strangle me!"
"Suffering Sappho, my lasso is Plastic Man?"
In the rubber, gorgeous! But let's swap gags after we take care of these two, okay?
And she drops what she thought was her lasso, and Plaz starts to coil back into almost a normal shape, slightly, as Weather Wizard and Kronos rush forward. Weather Wizard gestures with his wand towards Plastic Man, who starts to coil uncontrollably, and the Weather Wizard says,
"This twister will make you feel like you've just started in a taffy pool, Plaz."
Yes, we see he's being caught in a twisting wind, and then Kronos throws something to Wonder Woman, saying,
"And for you, princess, a new kind of alarm clock. One that puts you to sleep."
Wonder Woman catches the alarm clock and looks at it in astonishment as green vapour starts to come out of the centre of it. She yells, "Gas!" and then starts to cough and choke as Kronos says,
"Pleasant dreams."
We then see Plastic Man coiling both of his arms into a huge big funnel as he stretches his neck out above all this and says,
"For a damsel in distress, a tornado to blow your troubles away."
And he directs the tornado that Weather Wizard was throwing at him through this big funnel he's created down towards Wonder Woman, which dissipates the gas. Phew! Hopefully there's room for one of these panels on the socials. And then, as we see Kronos and the Weather Wizard dashing for the giant trophy that you could get for not very much money in that shoe repair place round the corner, and Wonder Woman and Plastic Man rushing to stop them, we cut back to Sportsmaster and the Huntress watching all this on their screen as Sportsmaster says, "This has gone far enough. Time to call that storm on account of a ball game."
"You notice, chauvinist, I'm lining up some female talent for my team."
And she flicks the switch once again, and once again, Plastic Man, Wonder Woman, Weather Wizard, and Kronos all vanish with a sequence of... And now, my love, to round out our teams at this last roundup.
Mark you to switch to Saratoga Racetrack and the special match race between the two top horses in the country. Looks like we missed the beginning of the show. Those aren't regular jockeys on Bold Force and Foolish Pride.
And Bold Force and Foolish Pride, not only did they support the Montrose Avenue on their final tour in 1998, but these are horses that are being ridden by the Tattooed Man and Dr. Polaris. But not only that, they're being followed by Kid Flash and Robin, with Kid Flash bearing Robin on his shoulders as they speed after the horses. We get a nice close-up of the Tattooed Man as he taps on his wrist saying, "Doc, watch what happens when I lose my marbles in front of our two-legged pursuer, Kid Flash." The tattoo that he has tapped must be a tattoo of some marbles, because a whole stream of little glass baubles start flying out onto the ground behind them. Dr. Polaris looks around and says,
"I'll top that with my magnet gun on his rider."
Kid Flash struggles to stay on his feet and keep a hold of Robin as he's now racing over this ocean of marbles, but then he fails and tips forward, crying,
"Yay, Tattooed Man tripped me up!"
And then we see that Robin has been zapped by Dr. Polaris' ray gun, and a little burst of pink energy is carrying him through the air as he yells,
"And Dr. Polaris is keeping me flying."
And then events are interrupted by a caption which reads,
Puzzled by the switch made by the Tattooed Man and Dr. Polaris to their original costumes? We'll explain in a later story. Julie.
Will they now? Interesting. Do you know what? I didn't know that Tattooed Man had another costume. This is what I thought he always looked like.
No, this is definitely retro.
When did it change then?
He had, in the Libra story in Justice League, one of the 100-pagers, he had his full-on body tattoo with a big massive cape and like the face tattoo mask thing.
Got you.
This is more his Popeye the Sailor look.
I've never read that story and I hadn't realised. I'd seen the cover, but I know who I've got it, obviously. I've never read that story. Hadn't realised who that was. I never knew he had another costume. I just thought he always looked like the Popeye thingy. That's very interesting. Anyway, bottom of the page, Kid Flash uses his momentum to somersault away from the marbles and land on his feet and resume his chase after the two villains on the horses, saying,
"Running isn't the only thing I can do at super speed."
And at the top of the next page, we see the Boy Wonder floating above him as Kid Flash jumps up, saying,
"Loosen your belt, Robin, I'll catch you."
Yeah, but what's going to keep my pants up?
The next bit of action is being watched by Sportsmaster and Huntress on their screen as indeed Robin releases his belt and drops to be caught by his Teen Titan compadre as Sportsmaster says, "I'll draft these four and we'll have our teams."
Wait a sec, what's that?
And then we see there's someone else at the horse racing track, a chap dressed in blue with a weird headdress with some astrological symbols around the band at the top, and he's gesturing towards Dr. Polaris and Tattooed Man as he says,
"Abnazar, Grebon, and Stwyr, make the horses disappear."
Yes, and they're gone. Two bad guys manage to arrest their momentum, with Dr. Polaris recognising the man responsible and saying,
"Felix Faust!"
As Tattooed Man says, "That scurvy sorcerer stole our horses right from under us." And then Kid Flash and Robin are arriving, and Wally says,
"Just what we need, another bad guy."
And then Robin points above them all, saying,
"And that's not all. Look!"
And dropping from the sky is a figure we've seen quite a lot of in the show recently. A man in a long blue coat and red and white candy cane trousers, extravagant white chin beard, and a Yankee Doodle hat, says,
"Tarnation, I reckon those young'uns will need some help against the likes of you. Help from Uncle Sam."
And then we hear the voice of the Sportsmaster as he says, "Now, there's more than enough of them, dearest." And once again with a sequence of Tattooed Man, Dr. Polaris, Robin, Kid Flash, Felix Faust, and Uncle Sam disappear.
Some 66,000 people live within a 3-mile radius of Crandall Stadium in upstate New York. And, at this moment, every single one of them is on his way to the stadium. Not because they want to go either, but when the Huntress sets a trap, none can resist.
And we get a nice shot of the exterior of Crandall Stadium and the thousands of people making their way to the entrance.
And, inside, on the field, the managers confront their teams.
Yes, we see Sportsmaster and the Huntress, Sportsmaster in the baseball gear. Standing to the left of them are Lex, Tattooed Man, Joker, Felix, and the other bad guys. We can see on the right of the Sportsmaster, Batman, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, and Canary. A Sportsmaster explains what the heck is going on. "So I propose a friendly game of baseball to prove that the bad guys can win." And the Huntress says,
"And they plan to do it without using the powers."
"Great idea," says Lex Luthor.
"We'll cream 'em,"
says the Joker. And Felix concludes with,
"Let's get to it."
Superman shares a close-up with Sportsmaster and the Huntress of the next panel as he says,
"Suppose we don't want to play Sportsmaster."
"Oh, but we've ensured that you will, Superman. My lovely wife has lured over 66,000 people here, and they'll stay here forever. Or until that scoreboard shows our ball game is over." We pull back to a great, wide shot of the baseball stadium, and the scoreboard is handily labelled scoreboard, which is good. Did the people that made Crime Traveller build this stadium? Anyway, we cut back down to ground level as the Emerald Archer says,
"And who's gonna umpire this game? You two?"
"Hardly. We are playing on opposite sides. Each team will choose one of its own to act as umpire."
You see Wonder Woman standing with her hand on Uncle Sam's shoulder as she says, "Our choice is obvious. Uncle Sam will represent our league. Despite what the New York District Attorney says about Sam and his fellow freedom fighters, he's the most honest, trustworthy man alive."
"Shucks, ma'am, I'm just a red-blooded American, that's all."
And we should point out there is a little caption at the bottom, was flagged up by an asterisk halfway through Diana's speech there, which says,
"As chronicled in Freedom Fighters, check out an issue. Julie, or indeed the recent episodes of our podcast.
Yes, indeed. The freedom fighters will return soon. You don't have to worry about that. We then cut to Luthor standing next to Amazo as he puts a friendly hand on the android's arm and says, I can't vouch for Amazo's honesty, but since he's an android, he'll have to call them as he sees them.
Umpires agreed upon, lineups made, equipment distributed. The strangest baseball game of all time begins.
And then we get a couple of caption boxes that tell us the positions everyone is going to be playing during the game.
Heroes. Wonder Woman, second base. Robin, left field. Kid Flash, shortstop. Batman, catcher. Green Arrow, third base. Huntress, center field. Plastic Man, first base. Black Canary, right field. Superman, pitcher. Villains. Dr. Polaris, third base. Tattooed Man, shortstop. Felix Faust, first base. Lex Luthor, center field. Weather Wizard, left field. The Joker, catcher. Kronos, right field. Mattermaster, second base. Sportsmaster, pitcher.
Over the splash page, there's a few exciting images. We see Uncle Sam and the Joker at the catcher's bit as Robin runs in. Huntress failing to catch a ball. We see Canary striking a ball with a baseball bat and Sportsmaster and Kronos watching it fly. We see Tattooed Man catching a ball. We see Amazo standing behind Green Arrow as Lex Luthor slides to one of the bases and the crowd looks on. There are a number of little charts, tables if you like, and Steve's going to walk us through them now because he might be able to understand it better than I can.
Yeah, so basically it's showing us the breakdown of the scoring for each inning, that the heroes and the villains both get an at-bat. Villains going last, heroes going first. In the first inning, the heroes got 1 run and the villains got 0. In the second inning, the heroes got 0 and the villains got 1, tying it back up. Now it's the top of the third, and the heroes have got 2 runs. So a total of 3 runs, 7 hits, and no errors, whereas the villains have 1 run, 4 hits, and 0 errors. Then we get a little bit of a progression. We get a second table that tells us that at the bottom of the third inning, the villains got 0. The top of the fourth, the heroes got 1. And the villains in the bottom of the fourth got 4 runs. So now the villains are up. Heroes with 4 runs, 8 hits, 0 errors, and villains with 5 runs, 9 hits, and 0 errors. Then we get a third table that tells us that things have progressed even further. The 5th inning, 2 runs for the heroes, none for the villains. The 6th inning, 0 runs for both sides. The 7th inning, 1 run for the heroes, 0 for the villains. And the 8th inning, 1 run for the heroes and 3 for the villains, making us tied going into the 9th inning. 8 runs each, 18 hits for the heroes, 15 hits for the villains, and still no errors for either.
Gosh. Thanks for that, Steve. All those terms I've heard elsewhere, but now I think I can understand them now that you've said that. And this glorious page, which will make it to the socials, listeners, be assured, it'll maybe be Monday or Tuesday's tweet, if that's how you follow us. This page is rounded out with a caption.
And despite all that happens through 8 innings, not a soul in the crowd stirs. Truly, this is a captive audience. So far, everybody's played fairly, and the game's all tied up after 8 innings. But the Sportsmaster is determined to win any way he can.
And there's another caption which reads,
Readers interested in knowing the complete play-by-play of this game can find it on our text page elsewhere in this issue. Julie.
And we'll post that on the socials one day this week as well. Listeners, watch out for it. Sooner rather than later, of course. So, Sportsmaster with his team of Joker and Dr. Polaris and Tattooed Man and Luthor and Weather Wizard all sat in, I suppose, is it their little bunker? Is that what you call it?
Dugout.
Dugout. There we go, you see? It's a good thing Steve's here. Sportsmaster is saying, Team, we've got to win. I don't care what you do or how you do it, just don't let them score. Tattooed Man looks quite amused at this as he says, You're telling us to cheat? Use our powers? I've been waiting all day for this.
And moments later, on the field,
we see Sportsmaster pitching to Black Canary, who strikes the ball and it goes flying, and Tattooed Man is in the foreground, tapping his wrist once again as he says, Here's where I put my latest tattoo to good use. A baseball mitt. and an enormous baseball mitt flies from his wrist up into the air where it catches Canary's ball. We see the glove plummet to the ground and the ball hop out of the glove and roll away as an incandescent Mattermaster looks on and says,
You dummy, your tattoo glove caught the ball, but you didn't catch the glove.
And as she rushes towards the base, Black Canary says,
That's my third hit. I'm batting 600.
We cut back to the Sportsmaster who's angling himself to pitch once again as he's saying, Don't worry guys, I'll keep him from scoring. And I use the old beanball and Soup. And he pitches the ball towards Soups, but it seems to bounce off his face and fly back as Sportsmaster says, Oop! Almost got beaned by my own pitch as the ball zooms past him. Uncle Sam kneeling down behind Superman and the Joker says,
Take your base, Superman.
Then, with runners on first and second, Wonder Woman lines a single to right field, loading the bases.
Now, I've no idea what that means, but we see a ball flying into the panel, bouncing off the ground, and Kronos trying to catch it. So there you go. Make of that what you will, listeners. Top of the next page is a very amusing sequence of 3 panels as Robin completely fails to hit any of the 3 balls that are flung at him, as we hear Sam saying,
Strike 1. Strike 2. Strike 3. Robin, you're out.
Gosh.
Kid Flash slaps a grounder to short, and Tattooed Man, deciding to forgo any more gimmicks, throws out Black Canary at home plate.
Again, apologies for the Scotsman trying to navigate a baseball game. We see Wally hitting the ball, which Tattooed Man catches and then throws in a direction that Canary was then running, and she's caught out by the Joker, who laughs. As Sam exclaims, Out! In close-up, the Sportsmaster says, Now we're clicking. One more out and this game is ours. And then who's next up to bat? It's Batman, with the Sportsmaster pitching for him. And we go over a sequence of panels, we hear Uncle Sam saying,
Ball 1. Strike 1. Ball 2. Ball 3. Foul ball, strike 2. And just to explain for David and Peter what happens in that panel is Batman swings the bat, he makes contact with the ball, but the ball flies backwards instead of forwards, and that is what a foul ball is.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
It's good, this, isn't it? Right, once again, Sportsmaster pitches in the next panel, and we hear Sam saying,
Ball 4, Batman, take your base.
So, Steve, does this suggest that Batman failed to hit the ball at all, and he's not very good at baseball?
Not necessarily, no. In fact, it shows he's a strategist. When balls are not going to be in the strike zone, he doesn't go after them. He only swings when he's going to make contact. When they're out of the range, he lets them go by, and he gets to walk to first base.
Interesting. Final panel of this page, we see Superman doing some running. I'm not quite sure where from or where to, but a caption reads,
And as every baseball fan knows, a walk when bases are loaded is scored as a run batted in.
Top of the next page, it's Superman and Green Arrow with Superman saying,
We're ahead by 1, GA. See if you can drive some insurance runs across the plate.
And Ollie enthusiastically wields his bat, waving it around as he says,
Leave the driving to me, Soups.
On the first pitch, the Archer hits a long single to right field, knocking home Wonder Woman and Kid Flash.
And we then see Green Arrow speeding past first base as Kronos tries to catch the ball in the background, and Green Arrow says,
Hoo-ha! How's that, Sportsy? 11-8.
And we see that it was Felix Faust at that base, and he says,
Frau de Car, winaf pu, quatten brack and free. Take the ball from Kronos and bring it here to me.
And indeed, the ball appears in Felix's right hand and he reaches forward and taps Green Arrow on the shoulder as Amazo delightedly says,
You're out, Arrow.
Oops. Hey, that's not fair.
Proceedings are then interrupted by another table, which Steve will walk us through quickly.
Well, this shows now that the 3 runs that the heroes got in the top of the 9th inning have been added to the score. So the total is 11 of the heroes, 8 to the villains as we go into the bottom of the 9th.
Right. We get an inset shot of Sportsmaster as he says, Lex, you're a scientific genius. Use your know-how to get on base. And we see that indeed Lex is up to bat with Soups pitching. And Soups pitches over a sequence of 4 panels, and we hear Sam crying out,
Ball 1. Ball 2. Ball 3.
With Lex not striking any of them. And then we get a thought bubble from Lex as he gives us, "My bat's giving off vibrations. I'll keep the ball from ever crossing the plate."
Ball 4, take your base.
So that's what he was up to, the trickster. Doesn't even swing, doesn't even make an effort. Shocking.
Next up, Weather Wizard hits a chopper to second base.
We see Wonder Woman trying to catch the bouncing ball and Weather Wizard gesturing with his wand, and a little storm appears above her as he says,
"My mini blizzard will keep you busy, Wonder Woman."
We see Lex starting to run as well, as we also see Kid Flash rushing in, as Wonder Woman says, "Doesn't bother me. I'll play baseball and bracelets with one hand and use my lasso to fan Luthor as he should have been when he was at bat." To which Lex says, "Where's the bag? Snow's blinding me." And of course, Wonder Woman's using her lariat to direct the snow in direction of Lex, who's running. Wally then catches the ball that Wonder Woman throws to him, and he runs forward, tapping Lex on the arm as he is about to reach the base, and Amazo, seemingly quite pleased about this, observes,
"Luthor, you're out."
Joker is next up to bat, and Steve has given me a quick off-camera explanation in that he is bunting. He's holding the bat, as Superman pitches towards him, and Joker just stops the momentum of the ball, letting it bounce forward in front of him. But at the same time, as this happens, he's releasing some of his patent laughing gas to catch Green Arrow as he tries to get home, with the Joker saying,
"Arrow, did you ever see a belly laugh bunt?"
And as Ollie is caught in this cloud of yellow vapour, he pitches forward, saying,
"Belly laugh bunt. That's a riot. Ha 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 ha!"
And the ball bounces past him as he lands on his shoulder. Awful.
With men on first and second, Kronos calls for a timeout. Time out of whack, that is.
And as Kronos hits the ball, he thinks,
"I've sped up time for my teammates and slowed it down for the heroes. We'll all be safe."
And we see Weather Wizard and the Joker rushing as Kid Flash and Wonder Woman seem to be moving very slowly indeed. We see Wally leap up to try and catch the ball as he thinks,
"Don't know what that Time Wizard did. I'm running at super speed and hardly moving, but I've got to beat him to first base."
And Wally manages to overcome what Kronos has done and zoom up towards him and tap him on the shoulder.
As Kronos is tagged out, his teammates advance to second and third.
And as Superman pitches towards Mattermaster, Mattermaster wiggles his wand and says,
"Here goes a long fly ball with wings."
Chat with wings there, 5 rounds rapid. Yes, the baseball grows a pair of wings, actually. It looks like that's the head of a seagull, and zooms off. Oh my goodness, Green Arrow does not hesitate. He draws from his quiver and fires towards the ball, saying,
"Okay, Clowny, if you want to play this way, so will I."
And of course, the arrow pierces the baseball, making it drop to the ground. Gosh.
Despite the Emerald Archer's quick thinking, 1 run scores. Sportsmaster comes to bat and slugs a long fly to deep center field.
And we see Canary rushing to catch it as in the next panel, Sportsmaster races past a weirdly contorted Plastic Man.
Confidently, he rounds first base, races for second, and arrives at the bag with a stand-up double.
And as Sportsmaster arrives at second base with Wonder Woman standing by, he says, "Another run in. We're only 1 behind." But then he breaks off because Plastic Man's tapping him on the shoulder and saying,
"Sorry, pal, you didn't tag first base, so I'm tagging you out."
"Yes, I did. I made sure I did."
"Wrong. That was my foot. Ask the umpire."
And of course, Amazo is the umpire, and he leans in and points, and we see that the weirdly contorted shape that Plastic Man was doing in the earlier panel included the fact that he'd changed his right foot to look like the base, and it was that Sportsmaster stepped on. Amazo, with a wicked look in his eye, says,
"He's right. He tricked you in a grandly villainous manner."
"I protest. This is unfair." Oof! But he stops because Plaz has picked up the baseball and rammed it into Sportsmaster's mouth, saying,
"Ah, stuff it. Nobody likes a poor sport."
And, over the page, a scroll caption reads,
Epilogue. Even as the final score flashes on the scoreboard, the entranced spectators rise and file out of Crandall Stadium as silently as they marched in.
And as the punters exit, we get a final look at the scoreboard, which Steve will walk us through now.
The 9th inning shows us that the heroes have scored 3 and the villains only 2. So the game, which was tied in the 8th inning at 8-all, now is 11 runs to the heroes, 10 runs to the villains, with the heroes victorious.
Gasp! Hooray!
Yay!
And when the hero and villain players are whisked back from whence they came, the silence is shattered by two voices.
Yes, there is a glorious sequence of... as Batman, Master, and Wonder Woman and Superman all vanish, and we're left with those lovable spouses, the Huntress and the Sportsmaster, with the Huntress yelling,
Well, Big Shot, I told you the heroes would win, even with all those dirty tricks you pulled.
Ah, shut up!
As for the various teams of heroes and villains and the battles they began, how do you think they ended?
Yes, and we very satisfyingly cut to see Superman knocking out Amazo and Lex Luthor, Green Arrow, and Batman and Black Canary securing the Joker and the Master, Kid Flash and Robin waving goodbye to Uncle Sam as they walk on with the horses with Tattooed Man and Dr. Polaris draped over them, and Wonder Woman and Plastic Man circling around and lassoing the forms of Kronos and the Weather Wizard, as a small caption reads,
Fini.
In the next issue, issue 11, DC Superstars of Magic featuring Zatanna and Abracadabra, on sale last week in October.
Oh, that's that Zatanna story that we did a couple of years ago, serialised from over a few issues of Adventure Comics. Ooh.
Certainly was. Listeners, go back and check that out.
If that's not an excuse for an impromptu omnibus repeat, I don't know what is. But no, we did it in one issue, didn't we? We did it in one episode.
We did one episode, yes.
Listeners, yes, go and check that out. And has Paul done that on DC Specialcast yet?
That one, no, not yet. He has done this issue on DC Specialcast, and I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes for this episode.
Yes.
So you can check out his commentary on it. Someone who knows more about it than David and I do.
Very much so. That's why we invited Paul to voice Master for us this evening. And, of course, we should give our thanks to Brandon returning as Superman, Chuck returning as Green Arrow, Kelly returning as Black Canary, Robin being voiced by Logan this time. I think that was it for the guest voices, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. Thanks to everyone for coming back and helping us out once again for this special anniversary episode.
And a very special thanks, of course, to our Steve Higgins.
Thank you for having me. Such great fun.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it, that story?
It sure is.
It was ridiculous fun.
Ridiculous kind of being the operative word.
Of course, our justification for doing this one really is the appearance of Uncle Sam as another Golden Age hero and star of the Freedom Fighters, which we're covering at the moment as well. And of course, we could argue the case that Black Canary is a member of the Justice Society involved. And of course, it's the Earth 1 versions of Huntress and Sportsmaster, meeting them for the second time. So yeah, we had to justify it. As well as it being our 300th episode. That would be why.
And that's also the final appearance of the Earth 1 Sportsmaster and Huntress. That's them.
Wow.
They don't appear in any other stories.
Oh,
interesting.
So perhaps they did go straight. I've got a theory. I have a theory. Right?
Right.
Strap yourselves in, lads.
All right.
So, the Huntress goes straight and she keeps her code name, changes her costume to something a bit darker to differentiate from the tiger stripe look. Sportsmaster also decides to go straight. And of course, he thought to his wife, fair play to you. You won. I'm a man of many talents, not just sports, man of 1,000 talents, perhaps. I'm terrific at everything. I should perhaps take on a new identity and become Mr. Terrific. He could have been the Earth 1 Mr. Terrific and Huntress. That would have been a great, great thing to do. Because all this tech that these characters seem to have,
yes.
It's not explained where it comes from. As far as I'm concerned, Sportsmaster's invented it all. I think he is a genius.
I think when you write your DC comic, or when we all write our DC comic, or we do that non-copyright thing for Ink and Drink, we do that exactly. No, that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I had it in my head that we would see them again soon because of an upcoming issue of All-Star Comics, but of course it must not be them who we see in an upcoming issue of All-Star Comics then.
No.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. As I said quite a lot during the recording, quite a lot of the terminology in this kind of makes sense now that Steve explained it, and also in context because I've heard it used in episodes of Quantum Leap and in Peanuts cartoons and stuff. So I think I could safely watch a baseball game now, I think. Even just the simple thing of top and bottom of the ninth. So no, I had no idea what that meant, but realising it's actually just the score, the scoreboards being so literal. It's just, I see, okay. So like the bottom is essentially the second half of that particular round.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
You see, listeners, you're not all just learning about comics. Peter and I are learning about American sports.
Every day in education.
Well, we were very lucky that this was not a football issue because baseball is way more my sport than football. So, I mean, I'm not like completely clueless on football. And of course, when we're recording this, the American Super Bowl has just happened, and
Yes.
I did watch that. I usually do watch the Super Bowl, but that's about as far as my football watching goes. Whereas baseball, I'm a huge fan, actually.
Cool.
Do you go to games particularly often?
I try to get to one every year. You know, I live in St. Louis, and our team is the Cardinals, but our chief rival is the Chicago Cubs, and my parents are both from Chicago, so I was kind of raised as a Chicago fan. So being a Cubs fan in a Cardinals area is always a little bit of a little iffy prospect. But yeah, I try to get to one game at least. And, you know, it's not like I dislike the Cardinals or anything. It is really just they're my hometown team. And if they're doing well, I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't pay attention to football at all, but anytime I hear that St. Mirren have won something, I sort of go, okay, good. And you're talking about the Cubs, and I've heard of the Cubs because they get mentioned in Back to the Future Part 2, don't they? See, listeners, our sporting knowledge.
They had not won the World Series, and that was kind of the joke in Back to the Future 2 that they had won multiple times.
Ah,
right.
And in real life, they did win in 2016, the year after they supposedly had in Back to the Future 2.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
That reminds me, there's a Monty Python sketch, one of Eric Idle's sketches, where he's got various sort of figures from Russian political history, like Karl Marx and Lenin, and he gives them a sports quiz, and one of the parts is sort of like which of these teams that have won the FA Cup, and the joke is that Coventry City have never won the FA Cup, but Coventry City have since won the FA Cup, was when that sketch was, you know, there's a similar thing to that, I suppose. Look at us talking about sports, Peter. Unbelievable.
The only thing I know about the Cubs is they play at Wrigley Field, I believe, because that features in the Blues Brothers, and that's the only reason I know that.
Yes.
Of course it does.
Yeah, there's a lot of Illinois references that I always loved growing up as a kid in Illinois, you know.
Yep.
Of course, the Illinois Nazis, which sadly are a little too real these days, but anyway.
Okay.
Oh gosh, okay. On that bombshell.
Well, it's been a lovely recording.
Yeah, of course. I realised, of course, I should have mentioned it earlier that Plastic Man being involved in this was justification for us doing it, shouldn't I? Oh well, not to worry.
Yes.
When will we see Plastic Man again? That is the question. This was fun, completely unlike any sort of regular story that we do. There's a real sort of Christmas special / season finale sort of feel to it, as opposed to the last big JLA story, which we've just done, when obviously all those others were at stake. This was very different to the usual.
Yeah. Hello, Peter from the future here. After we recorded this episode, Master himself, Paul Ken, got in touch and introduced us to listener John Steib. And John has a fascinating artifact relating to this story. And here's John to tell us all about it.
My name is John Steib, and I am a lifelong superhero comic book reader and a fan of the Earth 2 podcast. I'm also the proud owner of a unique bit of comic book history. One of my all-time favorite comics is DC Superstars 10, where the heroes and the villains of the DC universe play baseball against each other. Of course they do. It was written by Bob the Answer Man Rozakis with art by one of my favorites, Dick Dillon. How do I happen to be the caretaker of this special piece of comic book lore? Bob Rozakis hosted the Anything Goes chat hour on AOL way back in the 1990s. It was the early days of the internet, at least for me, and I looked forward to every Monday night and hoped my dial-up would get me online. We would chat which is what you did in a chat room back then, and then Mr. Rozakis would break out his trivia questions for the week. There were, I believe, 20 people in the room at the time, but I think it was expanded to more later. We were all trying to type our answers as fast as possible. In the end, there was one final challenge. Because he was the answer man, Bob Rowe, as we called him on AOL, had a theme for each week's trivia questions. I cannot recall exactly, but I think whoever submitted the theme to him first via something called email after the chat would be the winner for the week. Sorry if that's not correct, but that's the story I'm going with. I won several times over the months, maybe years, that he did this. After winning, Bob would send a DC prize item from his closet of stuff at the DC offices. Imagine my delight when I opened up the envelope that contained a copy of DC Superstars number 10 and his original typed script to it, which included handwritten corrections on the pages. Recently, I participated in the recording of DC Specialcasts on the Fire and Water Network with host Paul Kien. I told him the story because his very first episode of that show featured DC Superstars 10. I then scanned the 50-year-old document and shared it with Paul, and he shared it with the Earth 2 podcast friends, and the rest is now podcasting history. Enjoy.
And John was gracious enough to allow us to share this on our social media this week. So please, please, please check out Bob's script for DC Superstars issue 10. It's a fascinating read, absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much, John. You're a gent. It's really annoying that there's no letters pages for this title, unfortunately, because I'd love to see what the reader reaction is for this story, because I'm sure some people would have loved it. I'm sure some people would have hated it. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I can imagine a lot of people being annoyed that it wasn't serious.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose it's got that, open inverted commas, it's got that special feel to it. So,
yeah.
And of course, it is a strange sports story. And a strange sports stories, I think it ran about issues 47, 48, 49 of Brave and the Bold, little anthology sort of stuff. Lots of them were reprinted elsewhere in some strange sports stories issues of DC Special, and indeed a revived short-lived Strange Sports Stories in the early 70s at the same time as DC was publishing Champion Sports. So I'm going to put all the covers for those on the socials this week.
Good stuff.
As well as the cover of the digest that reprinted this. And I'm going to try and get together another gallery of DC sports themed covers as well to fill things out. Quite a lot to look forward to there. I'm not a sporty guy, but this was a lot of fun. It's really weird, just enjoyable seeing the heroes and the baddies, especially some of these really big hitters like the Joker and Luthor and the Mazo, just behaving themselves enough to take part in this. When you can imagine Lex just really want to go, screw this, and shooting Sportsmaster and flying off.
The villain lineup was actually really fascinating because obviously Joker and Master's a team just as bizarre, and the editorial caption saying, we'll explain later why Dr. Polaris and Tattooed Man are in their earlier costumes, and it's not explained in this story. I don't believe it's explained in any other story. I could be wrong. I remember Tattooed Man appearing in his sailor costume in an 80s Green Lantern issue.
Sure, yeah, that rings a bell.
So that might be a thing, but Polaris definitely goes back to his armoured look. Pretty much straight away from what I can recall.
Yeah, I had never seen this. I mean, I bought this comic obviously decades ago and probably hadn't opened it until last week when we started doing the prep. I wouldn't have recognised Dr. Polaris from Adam in that costume. I think it might be one of the worst supervillain costumes I've ever seen, just with that magnet hanging round his neck. Because he's, it's awful.
As I said, it's like a knockoff pirate outfit from a costume shop. It's terrible.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if people have left this in, but we sort of talked earlier about, we talked during the recording at the point when those characters were introduced about how Tattooed Man had appeared in the Libra story in, the 100-page issue of JLA, with one of the scales and stuff on the cover. A great cover, and I should probably go and read the story after we talked about it, but I sort of wondered if could Tattooed Man's costume be just a one-off for that story as a side effect of what Libra was doing, something like that, maybe?
Yeah. Maybe, who knows? Perhaps it will be explained in some issue.
Who can say?
I just wondered if Dick Dillon didn't know that they had changed costumes, and so he drew them like this, and then they were like, no, that's not their costumes. I'll write a caption that says, we'll explain that someday.
That's probably the most likely explanation, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the most likely. I've always liked that sort of aspect of the Tattooed Man's look, that he just looks like a regular guy as opposed to an evil costume supervillain. It's really sort of believable.
Especially these days when everyone's got tattoos, because back then, it was fairly rare to see just your average guy in the street with tattoos, yeah?
Absolutely. I mean, when I got my first tattoo in 1999, and even then it was a little bit more, I'm not going to say mainstream, but it wasn't quite as sort of spread. It'd be quite interesting if all of mine, I could bring mine to life. A little moon would be flying out, or a little hourglass, or a little Superman logo, or a little Shazam lightning bolt, or a little in Spiral Carpet's cow could go flying out to cause havoc. That'd be quite amusing.
Could be quite handy.
Yeah. I'm not sure how, but but it could be.
Throw lightning at people is quite handy, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe I could make my tattoos come to life and Take That would stand over there and they could fight the Spiral Carpets. That would be interesting. Gosh. So yes, listeners, as we said, there's a play-by-play page in this issue which walks you through the whole game. We'll post that separate from the photo album so you can all have a look at it. I'll post it on Instagram story, I'll tweet it, etc. Put it on Facebook so everyone can read through it if they don't have the issue. It's quite interesting. Reading it kind of assumes, a bit of familiarity with how the game works, but thankfully we had Steve along to explain how it was all working for us, because we might not have had a clue otherwise. But it's very interesting. It's so different from everything else that we've ever done. I mean, I've got a memory of an Avengers annual where the West Coast Avengers and the regular Avengers play baseball.
Oh, yeah. The X-Men used to have the odd baseball game as well, if I recall correctly, yeah.
Yeah.
That was always fun.
It's fun to see heroes enjoying themselves to an extent and not, the stakes for this never really seem particularly high,
Yeah, it's quite an enjoyable change from the mega epic we've literally just come off the back of, where humanity was going to be destroyed in 3 worlds. To have something that's a bit more low stakes and just basically have 2 villains relationship fighting being the whole genesis of this story. It's hugely enjoyable and a complete change from what we've literally just done. Hilarious and just as enjoyable. Yeah,
I think so. And even quite different from the last appearance in Batman Family a couple of weeks ago. It's fascinating.
As you were talking about the text page, the play-by-play, I think that page really makes it clear that Bob Rozakis is as much a baseball nerd as he is a DC Comics nerd, because he's clearly given a lot of thought to how this game would play out and exactly who would bat in what order and who would play each position. The fact that we have Plastic Man on first base. You're going to want to throw to first base to try to get somebody out. And so you need somebody stretchy who can reach to catch balls there on first base. Shortstop is a position of somebody that's usually smaller and more nimble. And so the fact that that's Kid Flash really makes sense. And, there's just so much of that I think that he clearly thought through the lineups first and then went back to say, how am I going to get these people together? Well, Sportsmaster and Huntress are going to have a magic device that they just push a button and poof, they appear at the baseball stadium at the right time.
Yeah. That's a really interesting point, because you have to wonder, where did Sportsmaster and Huntress get all this technology that could grab really powerful heroes and villains from whatever they were doing and transport them to this baseball game? I mean, that's not regular tech. I wonder where they got that from.
Do you think they perhaps got it from the Monitor?
Maybe they did. Interesting. Already starting to see the effects of the crisis. You can say.
Yes. I wonder if Bob Rozakis maybe based this in an actual baseball game. The scores and how it all played out. Or bear in mind, I think this was around about the time when the DC and Marvel staffers not used to get together and play baseball against each other.
Oh, so they did.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if that was maybe at this era or if it was slightly after. I remember it being mentioned in some letter columns.
Yeah, I remember, letters columns in the 80s mention it and stuff. That was always, you always used to wish you could watch them.
Yeah.
I'd not understand what's going on, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'll have to see if there's any photos of them online. Probably not, but, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Mark Grunwald steps to bat.
Yes.
Amazing.
Gosh, imagine that.
I'm imagining it right now.
Amazing. Yeah, all in, I think it's a lot of fun. Heroes getting to do their powers and stuff. Some people get more to do than others. It was good that I like Kid Flash sort of managing to overcome what Kronos was doing, and Ollie using some arrow skills and stuff, and Plastic Man being really skillful. Everyone's written really well and behaved very consistently. So I think that's all you can ask for, really. So, listeners, that's been it for our 300th episode. Huge thanks to Steve for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's so much fun.
Always a pleasure to have you. You're welcome anytime.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
We'll get you back before too long. It's been a while since you joined us for a live recording, so it's really good to have you. And again, thanks to our regular cast, reprising their roles in the JLA. And I think has Logan done Robin's voice before? I don't know if he has. So let's have it. He's done Robin and Speedy and Captain Marvel Jr. and Sandy. So Logan adding another kid sidekick to his tally. As he continues, he towers over all of us now, listeners, so we'll have to get him to stop playing kid sidekicks before too long. But yes, thank you to Brandon, Chuck, Kelly and Paul for helping us out as well. Much appreciated, and maybe Pete will be nice and post links to their shows in the show notes. Who can say?
Gents, I've had so much fun doing this recording with you guys that I think that I'm going to make an effort to come to Scotland this summer and we'll do one live. What do you say?
Wait, that would be wonderful. That'd be fantastic.
That's an excellent idea, because I haven't seen you in real life in 9 years nearly, so that'd be great. That'd be huge.
We're working on making it happen, so.
We'll have to maybe have a day when you both just come round to mine, or maybe Gavin will find us a studio and we can just try and record like 10 episodes all in one go or something. Aye, right. Can you imagine?
I'm imagining it right now.
Gosh. No, but Steve, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure. I mean, I love the fact you're on our 100th episode and you're here 200 episodes later after helping us all out with those ones in between when Pete wasn't well. It's good to have you.
Indeed.
Always a pleasure, etc.
Never a chore.
Thank you.
Listeners. Our 300th episode, what did you think? Did you enjoy it? Steve was back with us. It was sensational. Tell us how much you enjoyed Steve joining us and how much you're looking forward to him coming over in the summer. You can email us at theearth2podcast@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on social media because we're putting up some lovely bonus material for this. Indeed, every episode. David has got tons of stuff this week. It's incredible.
I'm drowning in it.
On Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky, we're at the Earth 2 Podcast. And on Twitter, we're at podcast_Earth2. And it is, of course, as it has been for 300 episodes, the number 2 for all of our socials.
Steve, is there anything you want to plug or tell the listeners about at this point? What's Ink and Drink up to at the moment? Is there anything coming out from them?
Yes, we are working currently on our best of. We're going to put a compilation of our best stories over the past 15 years together. And we probably will be looking at doing that as a Kickstarter at some point over the summer.
Okay.
Great.
And then for the fall, we've got a horror book coming out. So
in time for Halloween.
Cool. Well, when the Kickstarter goes live, let us know and we'll share it on our page and stuff like that as well. So at the very least we can do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
As I always say at this point, listeners, if you're enjoying what we're doing, please consider going to wherever it is you receive your podcasts and giving us a positive review, or like many of you do, and we're grateful for it, sharing our posts on your own social media, spreading the word. We've gathered a lot of new followers and listeners over the last year or so, and it's great. We no longer feel that we're shouting into the void, and it's lovely, quite frankly. If you're feeling super generous, you could go to our coffee page and buy Peter the price of a beverage as he tries to tame this epic, nearly 2-hour recording that Steve and Peter and I have made this fine Wednesday evening. I'm sure Peter would appreciate that, especially for reasons, probably.
So a shortstop does what?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I've heard that term used as an insult, and now I kind of understand it a little bit more. I've heard the Atom being called shortstop occasionally. So that now makes sense. The Atom is someone else I have a tattoo representing, so he could fly out of my right arm if he felt like it. Right, I've rambled enough.
On that bombshell, I've been Peter.
I've been Steve.
And I've been David, and we'll see you again very soon on
The Earth 2 Podcast. Episode 301. Thank you, gentlemen.
That was fun, boys, honestly.
Fun Boy 3, that's us.
It was, believe it or not, less torturous than I thought it might be, so thank you. Imagine this had been a 3-part epic featuring Bullet Man and Mr. Scarlet and Pinky.
Love it.
Oh, God, can you imagine?
I am imagining it right now.
I've been imagining it as a 4-issue miniseries where each issue coming out and then like one whole month of just sports playing between different villains and heroes.
It should be a Vertigo series, and they go into the deep psychology of all the players, and there's a coach with the secrets and all sorts of things. Yeah,
we should remember this for the discussion at the end, and we should pitch it. And Superman is now moving so quickly that it appears. Was it a tennis pitch? No. What do you call it?
Court. Tennis court.
Court.
Thank you. Go sports.
We are such jocks.
We really are. Right. I want to try and channel Michael Rosenbaum, which means I have to really make it sound like I'm not interested and don't want to be here. But some satire on the Talkville podcast there.
Mm-hmm.
This, to me, seems to suggest that Batman isn't very good at baseball. Would that be correct?
Ironic, considering it involves a bat man.
I'm trying to ask Steve, because, like, you're the one that's got to edit all this.
I know, that's why I put in the joke. That's the outtake.